Hello everyone and welcome to Moonride. You've watched TV in the last few days. You've probably seen William Barr's topical response to Mueller's report. One thing that I want to point out is we haven't read Mueller's report, so we really don't know what's in it. We only know what Barr has said so far. I would reserve all judgment. Keep in mind this is a very, very stressful time. And the best thing that you can do is take yourself away from the media from time to time and give yourself space to rest and relax. This is not going to be resolved tomorrow. It's not going to be resolved in 1 week. It's going to be resolved over many years of time. So don't take it too hard. Whatever time, give it some time. I really recommend that you go out to nature, as you can see that I have, and try to connect with Earth, with a greater justice, with Spirit. But right now, let's take a look at this Barr's initial summary and see what we can make of it. Okay. So, Spirit, can you just tell us about Barr's report? So, I just get the feeling that a funny image. Mueller is actually showing up with a lightsaber. Okay, and there's Barr with his own lightsaber. But it's like just, cutting that Barr's lightsaber in half. I actually see Mueller as very dynamic here, and I see Barr as somewhat in reversal. Mueller seems very unhappy with him, and it seems like he is disappointed. That is Mueller, and that he really expected more of Barr. And one thing that Mueller seems to be doing is demanding that he release this report. And in a sense, now that Barr has done what he has done, there's even greater pressure to release the report. You might think, and if there's nothing in the report, if it's all good, why not release it? Why put out an initial statement buffering the report? Right? There's really no reason to do that. Mueller's going over to a set of law books, and he's pulling out a book of law, and he's pointing and showing Barr, look at this. Barr's looking slightly sheepish, slightly taken aback. And before I saw for Barr that he was looking over at the Washington Monument. Now Mueller's pointing out the Washington Monument to him and reminding him of the meaning of that monument. Barr seems very reticent. Barr's taking his report out of his desk. Second drawer on the left. It's thick. He's taking it out. And as he's looking at it, he feels the pressure. He feels that he must release it. And he feels that he must release it with very few redactions. Mueller looks really upset. He's pacing the room. There's a fire in the room, like a fireplace. He's pacing back and forth in front of Barr, who's kind of watching him. And he seems to be really chastising Barr. And now he's bringing a lamp and he's bringing it closer to the report, as if to say, look, let's look a little closer here. It's as if he's saying, look, it's not over till it's over. Don't believe any of this until the report is released. Well, let's just ask straight up. Mueller, what's in the report? It's funny because he's going like this, almost like it's a question of how you frame this. Barr's job was not to prosecute, it was to report. Barr's pointing to the Congress building, and he's sort of saying this is the real purpose of the report. It's for Congress. And it's for Congress to decide whether this is an impeachable set of offenses or not Barr. So again, Mr. Mueller, what is in the report? Things that will make people really angry. That seems to be what he's saying. Keep in mind, what is important is the anger that many people are feeling now, regardless of what Barr has said. Barr's initial report may have meant people on the left are even more angry because they feel that this is spin, and they're even more certain that Republicans will never deliver justice upon themselves. Interesting image. Again, Mueller's got the saber, the lightsaber, and he's sort of cutting the Congress in half. What does this mean? Now we're going to see how it all really works, right? Now we're going to go to Congress. We're going to watch them do what they do. People like Nadler are going to take a look, and they're going to really make it very public, since other portions of the report haven't been made public. Now we're going to see a lot more detail about what's really going on. Let's ask Mr. Mueller, did Trump break the law? It's kind of going like this, almost like, I hope that is revealed. But again, he really wants to say, look, that is not my job. I don't prosecute. I'm not a prosecutor. It is up to you to prosecute. It's up to us to demand that the report be made public. It's up to every American to go out and say, I want to see that report, and I want to see as much of it as possible. In a way, this might be a good thing, because it's increased the demand to see the report rather than decreased it. It's also given Trump a sense of ease and comfort, which might not be well placed. Keep in mind, his children are not protected by this report. They will still have to face justice, still have to face the Southern District of New York, and that is not looking good for them. The base would cheer for him no matter what. If this report turned out that Trump had absolutely positively colluded, they would find some other reason to excuse the report and say it's nonsense. In a sense, this is going to make people look even more closely and come to their own conclusions. It's up to us to decide whether he has committed a crime or not. Not him. Not Barr. Spirit, are we ever going to see justice for Donald Trump? I mean, are we ever going to see justice in this process? Because, honestly, Spirit, it feels like sometimes we're not going to see this justice. Okay. I've seen the man in the moon himself, and he's got this light going right down the middle. Almost like saying, when are you guys going to get mad enough? When are you guys going to just do something? Kavanaugh's hearing made us all so angry that we went and voted in some members of the House of Representatives that would bring us some truth. So are you mad enough yet, or? It's funny because he keeps pointing this kind of light at me and saying, it's justice is here, but it's coming to face you directly. What are you gonna do about it? That's what he's saying. What are you gonna do about it? You can vote at the elections. You can demand justice from your elected officials. You can insist that they act. Right? Over and over and over again, we see Democrats and Republicans not really doing much. Now we're going to make sure that they do their job. We're going to make sure that our election is fair. 30% of the population is never going to change their mind. So 70% of the population has to agree. This has only brought them closer to it. Well, it might seem bad, but don't be so sure if in the long run this doesn't work out better. Well, will we see justice? Again, it's up to us. It's up to us to see justice. It's up to us to make sure this happens. Spirit, this is all very hard work. We are really, really working to try to get something out of this, and it feels like we are hemmed in everywhere. Why? And what can we do? It's like, look, you built these walls. You built these walls under which, you built your own prison here. It's like a bunch of brick walls. You bricked up the door. You built your own walls. You better get angry enough to break those walls down. This is going to require a total change. This may well send everybody even off to more rapid change. Yeah. Sometimes injustice brings justice. That's what I get out of this. And it's not over. It's just beginning. This is just an initial step. If it turns out that Barr is inaccurate about this, there's going to be a lot of pushback. If it turns out that Barr is somewhat inaccurate about this, there's still going to be pushback. Barr's looking a little bit ashamed. And it's almost like now Barr has to prove himself. Here's the report. See, I was right. So don't be surprised if this pushes him to show the truth of the matter. Spirit, what should we do in these difficult times? How can we manage this? Stay calm. Stay focused. I get this kind of stay calm, stay focused. Don't go crazy over this stuff. This is just one day in many, many, many days. We've already seen people go to prison for crimes. They're not the last. Enjoy nature as much as you can. You gotta go out and get away from your media. Media's killing us. And it makes us so hyper-vigilant of every moment we gotta watch. That's not helping you. You already know the basics. You already know what's really going on. Just everybody knows that Trump is guilty of sin. It's just no question about that. It doesn't really matter what Barr says, or even what the Mueller's report says. We all know that he did it. So, as long as we all know that, we might also know that our justice system is not really what it should be. All of Mr. Barr. Spirit, are we going to get through this? Heart, go into your heart. Go into your feelings. If you're upset about this, that's okay. Go and talk to some people about how upsetting this is, and you will communicate your feelings to those people, and they will communicate their feelings to you, and that's one reason why this is happening. People have to start talking about how they feel about things, and that's beyond a reaction of, oh, it's so good or it's so bad. It's beyond that. It is really communicating with a person about what's really going on. Understand that we would not be having these conversations about the meaning of America, the meaning of American justice, all of these things. We wouldn't be having these conversations if we did not see the contrast, if we did not see the negative, if we did not see the bad portions of what we don't want. And it's really a good idea to write down the government that you do want. Say, I want a government which is just and fair, where people are treated equally, and whatever it is. Write that down. Universe doesn't know what you want until you really write what you want. Feel free to change it and alter it. You might be surprised at what changes and alters there. But do write that. That's the first step in making the justice happen, is writing down the justice that you want. Really do write. America, I want a United States of America, which, and then just write that out. We'll be doing more work along those lines later. But the first step in manifesting that is really stating what you want. You might write justice as the #1 adjective these days. Would you have done that 4 years ago? Maybe you would have put money 4 years ago. Maybe you would have put power 4 years ago. Now, you're going to change this, and I don't want to write that in for you. But notice that your political vision is changing, and that is a good thing. We're going to need to know this. 10 years, we're going to really need to know this. Things are going to change. And by all means, it is not over. Just because William Barr has spoken today doesn't mean William Barr will not speak again and say something different. Don't be surprised if this completely changes in a week. Spirit, I saw April 15th as a date of importance, maybe 16th. Money. Okay. So I thought this had to do with Barr, and it still may do have to do with Barr. But I keep getting money now. I think a lot of people, is it about taxes? More or less. Once the bills comes due, people are going to be upset. Once the 15th happens and people realize that their taxes actually went up, that's when those 30%ers who always support Trump might start changing their minds. This may be more important than any proof of collusion, because they're going to be the ones that pay. Okay, again, this is much like Kavanaugh. Realize that not getting what you want or expect, not getting the justice that you expect, will create a reaction, an overwhelming reaction, where people will really, really, really focus on justice. Think about how many people just didn't go out and vote. Can you imagine that happening in the next election? We will talk about nothing for the next 2 years except the report's merits and lacks of merits, and Barr's statement and the truth and failure of that statement. Yeah, I'm seeing Man in the Moon actually with a sword of justice. Remember to be just yourself. If we're going to criticize our government, remember that it does start with us, and we must be fair and we must be just in all our actions. Don't let people use you as a doormat. Part of justice means saying no, right? We all want Mueller and Barr to say no to Trump. And if they're failing to do that, well, that just lets us know that we can't do that. This doesn't mean you have to go all crazy on everybody and everything and deliver justice in negative ways. It does mean that we have to attend to this in our own lives. And that's something we have control over. don't be fooled. This is one of those things that tells us, don't be fooled. Just because there's this song and dance going on here, don't be fooled by that song and dance. You know what justice is. Somebody's not telling you the truth. You know they're not telling you the truth. You don't have to react to that. You can just inwardly know and act in accordance with the truth. And think of the long term. If you're a just person, people will eventually come to know you as a just person. They will rely on you, whatever you do. And as I often see, America, United States, is moving forward, slowly forward, but it is forward. It is a pioneer. America is a pioneer. If it seems like we get what we don't want, that's an anticipation of knowing this is what we do not want. And it pushes us to act. Being an American is not a passive act anymore. It is action. Okay, I keep seeing the moon. And I keep seeing the moon being cleared of fog. Whatever's in the report, we're eventually going to find out. And it is going to be clearer. So if we were wrong in supposing XYZ, okay, we were wrong in supposing XYZ. That doesn't mean that Trump didn't do A, B, and C. There may be many other crimes involved in this, as we have already seen via Cohen, via Manafort. It's not going to be simple, but it is going to be intense. Do your best to attach to people, contact people who will listen to you, who will confide in you, and express how you feel about this. And if you're very upset, it's great to talk about this with somebody who is also very upset. You can really dialogue about it and come to your own conclusions. And together you can do something really positive. It may be that there is some time before we have justice, but that doesn't mean you and a few of your friends can't work within the system of justice and create it for yourselves. Doesn't mean you can't get together and start your own business in lieu of the facts that we know, knowing what we know. Just be realistic, but also take heart. We will know the truth. We will come to know the truth in time. And that's the most important thing. Don't worry so much about the next moment. Long term will show that we will see the truth.